Good evening from Johannesburg. I'm Makhosini Nkosi. This is Let's Have It Out. I'm a media and political consultant, a veteran of 23 years. As a media consultant, I have advised the Premier, cabinet ministers, MECs, and government entities, including the NPA and the Scorpions. As a political consultant, I've been involved with 5 political campaigns with a mixed bag of results, of course. I've written a number of strategies. I've also seen many strategies that had been written by others. At the center of each and every one of them, there has always been the news media. The media is of great importance to politicians and governments because it gives them access to you, the citizens and voters. The more positive coverage they get from the media, the more they enjoy the trust of the citizens. The media is also central during elections. Politicians and political parties that get more media coverage, even if it is not so positive, tend to do better at the polls. The media keeps them top of mind of the voters. I've also been a political journalist. I had the privilege of covering former President Nelson Mandela and Thabo Mbeki and many other political events inside and outside the country. I know firsthand that the media relies on politicians and governments for content or stories. The media and politics, therefore, have a symbiotic or mutually beneficial relationship. Each needs the other to succeed. Voters generally trust the media more than they trust politicians. This gives the media great influence and power. Ideally, the relationship between politics and media should benefit the people, the citizens. After all, the media exists to serve the public's right to know. The media undoubtedly has a watchdog role to play. Voters rely on the fourth arm of a functioning democracy, the media, to keep power in check and accountable to citizens. In South Africa today, we have a popular president who enjoys a lot of political capital. This means that he encounters little or sometimes no resistance at all from the public and the media when he takes political decisions. Tonight, we tackle the issue of how the South African media should cover and still hold to account a president or administration which enjoys great public and political favor. This is Let's Have It Out. You can have your say, and here's how you can do it.
Tweet us at ENCA using the hashtag LHIO. Call us on 011-759-6340. Or send us a WhatsApp or WhatsApp video on 082-884-6370. And make sure those videos are no longer than 30 seconds, please.
We do look forward to your inputs on this very important matter, and to help unpack this issue of how the media handles a president who enjoys political and public favor. I'm joined by Wits Associate Professor in Media Studies and Deputy Vice Chancellor, Professor Tawana Kupe. Good evening, Prof, and thank you very much for having you.
Good evening, Makhosini, and good evening to your viewers.
I am very happy, and I'm looking forward to a very interesting conversation. And I'd like to invite you to have a conversation with me. This is not an interview. And, but before we start, I see what is happening in Zimbabwe. There seems to be a bit of unease and an unrest. I'm interested in your take as to how the media has covered pre-election and post-election, and what can we learn out of what we see out of Zimbabwe right now? Your views?
Well, yeah, no, not being on the ground, but in this electronic age, you have some degree of access.
Yes.
But what you can say, as you know, in Zimbabwe, is that a large swath of the media is actually government controlled. It's government media, government television, government radio. You don't have the equivalent to the SABC,
yes,
like you have NCA.
But you do have private media?
Yes, but those are newspapers that largely circulate in the urban areas and not in the rural areas. And the population and geographic split there is that a large majority of the people live in the rural areas.
Yes.
So their only media sources,
state media,
government television and government radio. And then in the urban areas, much fewer people, more educated in the access to print media, which has a fairly relatively limited circulation
I see.
for the potential readership that they could have.
Let's come back to the discussion that I want us to have today. My view is that the news media seems to be caught in this Ramaphoria or this New Dawn narrative that the pendulum seems to have swung too far the other way. Before you had Jacob Zuma as president, each and every decision he was taking was being questioned by the media. But now it looks like you have a president who pretty much can do anything with very little resistance from the media in particular. What's your view? Is that the right way for it to be done?
No, well, you should never swing to the media should never swing too far in the other way,
yes.
being praise singers.
Yes.
That is not their role. Their role is to hold power to account.
Yes.
To scrutinize everything in the public interest, not in the interest of the politician.
Yes.
But perhaps let's contextualize this somewhat, this way. 6-7 months ago, the country was in a very bad space.
Yes.
Credit ratings, downgrades, a rand, flying to the south in terms of the exchange rates.
Yes.
People were despondent about their future. There were massive strikes all over. Cabinet reshuffles that took half the night and were fairly frequent.
Yes.
So there was real fear about the direction of the country. And also, not to mention the corruption scandals that were erupting all over the place, the Gupta emails and all of that.
Yes.
So you would expect that once the president associated with those activities left office and somebody considered relatively cleaner, more credible and so on, that there would be some cheering. However,
yes.
if you look in the last 3 months or so, I think that the pendulum is swinging back towards somewhere where it should be in the middle.
Yes.
Because the euphoria you mentioned is actually also not being proven by facts on the ground. Unemployment is up, rand is going
That's
south.
precisely my point, that you do not see that. You see, if you consume the media, you might think that everything is hunky-dory. It's when you go to social media and you talk to people that you get that people are unhappy, but you don't get that being reflected in the media. That's my problem.
No, I think I would disagree with. If you look at the Sunday papers, especially the Sunday papers are interesting because they, in essence, as you know, try and summarize everything that has happened in the last week. If you look in the last 2-3 months, actually, you can see the critical voices actually returning. I think that people are still caught up in the following. Are you really going to criticize this president with such credibility if you compare to the nightmare that you faced? Of course, that should not be the standard.
Yes.
What the media ought to do is that use the principle that vigilance is the price of retaining a democracy.
Yes.
The issue is not whether somebody is more popular or likable or the last one was very, very bad, so what you get is better. Is that always your campus and your focus point is whether this person is accountable to the public interest, this person is actually pursuing policies that are sustainable, and two, that they're actually keeping to their promises.
Okay. Thank you very much. Let's hold it there. We'll come back to that conversation. Stay tuned as we continue with our conversation after the break. Remember to use the hashtag LHIO on social media. We'll see you just now.